A different champion select is an option here, and with potentially getting a counter pick here at the same time, could be a great opportunity here now that Jin Air moved to the red side as we start up champion select. Understandably, Kog'Maw is going to be banned away, but we'll see whether anything else changes.
Expecting if they ban it on blue side, they might consider a red side Varus ban here as well. Jin Air Green Wings to keep that one away from Ruler. We don't necessarily want to give Sejuani to Ambition either, so something's got to give, you have to feel like, on the red side, depending on what KSV opt into as blue side bans.
Jin Air looking for the Ezreal button. Not quite fine at the moment. I think it'll probably turn up.
Could press the Varus button first if they wanted to, but no, they'll leave their options open, just take out the Ezreal. So the top three when it comes to the current ban trends for AD carries in Korea have all been accounted for.
Now, where's the Zoe, Papa? We haven't seen her on the Rift just yet. Seen her banned a spattering of times today, but it's really been opted in for. I'd like to get some trouble bubbles.
The first pick Sejuani going to be obliging for KSV. Not interested in prizing that particular pick.
Odd, because Ambition, probably one of the best to ever play the champion.
Definitely fits his style.
Oh yeah.
Looking like Gangplank is available here. The Varus they banned on the blue side in game one. Probably going to be a first pick Varus if it's not banned.
Might be opportunities though to grab other picks here, as Jin Air do not go for that Varus ban, so KSV can grab it, and look, they have found it. There it goes.
Gives you that pick power because of the longer laning phases. Rageblade Varus is very powerful because no one gets punished in the laning phase anymore. So that is why Varus has kind of joined some of these other AD carries of the moment as a very prized pick. Tristana, a possible answer for Jin Air if Teddy wants to go there, or the Caitlyn that he looked past in the previous game, also a safe possibility.
Now, the Jarvan-Malzahar combination is available for Jin Air if they want to try and lock it away. Worked brilliantly for BBQ earlier, but it's a very different opposition.
A very reliable duo once the Malzahar to level 6, should be mentioned, like you say. So will definitely be considered. Ryze and Azir off the board does open up some new options in the mid lane. Does feel like Ryze pushes a lot of mid laners out, so when it's banned, you become hopeful you'll see new stuff. As not quite new stuff, but still more edge of the meta than we're used to. The Xayah coming out here.
Was a bit of a favorite for Teddy, yeah.
Say a lot of Xayah Rakan when it was Teddy and Snowflower.
Yeah, Snowflower debuting, I believe, the Rakan here in the LCK.
Now off to Turkey. Yeah. TCL now. Mention the Gangplank. Not often do you see it get to the third round of picks, but does come here for KSV. Old favorite of QV. Even when he was a tank player, he would play some games of Gangplank, and you have to like what you see if you're a KSV fan. They could have gone for Braum, just for Varus Braum, and to answer a later Orin pick, but it's going to go for Tahm Kench, which also, of course, has a lot of value.
Yeah, looking for that counter pick on the top side of the map, potentially, in the Lucian that is going to be locked away. Exactly right. Remember, Gangplank was first banned on the blue side last time for Jin Air. They certainly know to fear the Gangplank, just not giving it any priority at all. Game number 2.
And someone's been on this roster a really long time. I was in the roster when I first came to Korea in 2015 as a substitute top lane player. He was known as a Riven one-trick before he debuted. He is most comfortable on lane dominance. Some good Jace games in summer of 2017, and he's going to try to bust, just like Keen was against Smeb yesterday in the Lucian versus Gangplank matchup. Have to pay lip service to the fact that it could be a Lucian mid lane, but I'm 100% certain it's Lucian versus Gangplank.
Yep. Was the only game that Keen lost in that series, though, you have to remember, so certainly still go okay for QV. As the ZAC respect comes in for Ambition.
We've seen quite a few impressive ZAC performances and one good game against ZAC earlier series today, so we don't know if this is a trend or just a one-off, but they do not want to deal with a late rotation ZAC pick after Ambition just picked up an MVP on it. The final ban towards Jin Air. Looking for mid lane and support, and it's going to ban away the Braum, so Tahm Kench definitely looking like a great pick, and no Braum an answer there.
Rakan's still an option if they want to go for the Lovers duo.
Rakan's not really seen as super viable right now. It feels like the Keystones don't necessarily fit him that well. Zyra Khan as a duo does buff up Xayah, but it's still a possibility. You know, they're clearly talking about they will go for Zyra Khan. The Rakan part a little bit out of meta for what we've seen so far of 2018 meta and Kesper Cup All-Star as well. Cool to see the Lovers duo. It's been a long time.
I do like how Rakan works with Jarvan as well. I mean, you get the flag and drag, get the knock-up, grand entrance, then feels a whole lot better. But now Crown can easily lock in Malzahar that we've seen do extraordinarily well. And Ambition revisits the Rengar once again. Shades of Haru whisper throughout the venue, but not going to be him playing it. It's Ambition, and we'll see whether once again he has a good performance.
Maybe he's learning from the best. Atlas, maybe some learning, getting those notes from Haru, one of the few champions that he held over Ambition. A favorite of his in previous years, though. 3 champions for Ambition. Zach was new, J4 and Rengar, so the second game on the Rengar, and guess what? He's probably going to do some farming before he gets going, so...
Surprise, surprise!
I feel like we're one man short of him being like, whatever, Graves time. So will be the Orianna as the final pick here for Jin. Orianna and Jarvan, famous initiation duo. But if you think about it, the initiation's really going to have to be a super-fed Orianna Shockwave because they've got no other beef on the team. It really is only the Jarvan. Khan will get decently tanky, but very squishy lineup of Jin. And Orianna usually known for her team fight, you know, extended team fights when you have a frontline extended shield. It feels like these team fights are kind of be like blink and you miss them, so we're going to have to be on point in the fight phase.
Their pick CC certainly is something that you can talk about, though, on the side of Jin. So if they are able to get some vision superiority, set themselves up to try and catch off single members of KSV, and that's a way of potentially winning the game. But with how KSV have been playing, especially of late, you just don't expect them to make those sort of positioning mistakes. And they have tools like that as well. You look at this man on your screen right now, that Nether Grasp available to Crown is going to mean that their pick potential, not to mention the Chains of Corruption coming out from Ruler on his, you know, probably best performing champion now and in the past.
Comfort, certainly for KSV. Decent laning phase, but not as overwhelming as Game 1. Bit more equality in the early game. Let's see what Jin can make.
Yep, they may have to try and run away with this one. Will Jin, we'll see whether they can do it in game number 2. It was a red side victory for KSV. Now it could be an opportunity for Jin. Still trying to figure out the cheer, I think. KSV fighting. I don't know. It's not quite working like Samsung fighting just yet.
Will be a temporary name, given I mentioned earlier that KSV will be renaming for summer, at least according to the players and also Kevin Chu, the owner.
That's good. It's good. I mean, not a lot of people are confused by the fact that the World Champions are now called a completely different name, so glad it's changing again.
Yeah, it feels like we kind of have to say Samsung Galaxy a couple of times a broadcast because people think it might just be a skippable game. They're like, oh, KSV, are they that going to Monster or something?
Yeah. Another K name.
We've got four to start, and then, you know, SKT, obviously.
Yeah.
The K sound is very prominent in the name, so.
Got plenty of Ks.
And we're from
it's all
Korea,
gonna be K.
after all.
Don't worry, it's all going to be K. Bob Smithy?
You say as Gangplank gets on the screen.
Exactly. Perfect.
Oh, it's the Toy Soldier Gangplank.
I like that one.
It's the most tilting one for the enemy team, so I think it's a very good choice. It's the Gank Me Please.
I like Ghosty Gangplank for that. I feel like he's just so blue and obnoxious. Plus he's like the really old skin as well.
Notice it is a blue side hard leash. You see a lot of red side. Red side, red starts for Jarvans, but you understand that you want to either be ganking or in the position to gank top lane or counter gank, because top lane is kind of the most swingy matchup there. It's heavily favored for the Lucian, but give Gangplank some extra gold, and you know that we'll certainly take that to the bank and then some.
Yep. Well, Spellbook Orianna is going to be locked in here. I do see a lot of the Airy Fairies or Comets coming out. But Justice wants to be able to change up these summoner spells and also has access to the minion dematerializer. And you can see it has potentially used some of those because Wave shoved really far.
Not yet.
Ah, yes.
It has the lockout for the first 2.5 minutes, so...
Unfortunate.
And that's
now
actually,
we can use it.
Thankfully for Riot, that was a really good decision, because if you could use it earlier than that, then you would use it to get the level 2 spike, and then the enemy would have to take it, and everyone would have to take it, because if you didn't have it, you would lose level 2 instantly.
Yeah.
So the lockout is definitely very smart on that. Ambition does end up getting top scuttle, so also gets vision on Umti, so a bit of a 2-for-1 there.
Umti does notice that Ambition doesn't have his blue buff just yet, though, so some information there. Not too bad. Jinna just trying to farm things out. Able to get the shove top, as you might imagine. Also, Justice able to shove in the mid lane. But with this bottom lane being unlocked, it means Core JJ is able to come and lick this lady in the mid lane, if he wants to. Decides not to.
I'll leave that piece of commentary breathe for a bit.
That's exactly what he was going to do.
True. Factual, yet still funny.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of parity in summoner spells when it comes to the keystones. Only difference top lane, where summoner Aerie for the harass, and then predictably the Leptomancy for QV.
Yep.
We haven't done our stopwatch check.
Oh, that's true.
We still haven't had a 5 stopwatch team. Support's just not really in on the stopwatches. There's 4 on the side of KSV.
And
nice.
3.
So 7 again.
Whew.
Had to catch up after, what was it, 3 in the first game?
Yeah, it was 3 in the first game. It was really abysmal. It might be a 10 stopwatches if KSV win this game versus the 19. So, match number 1.
I feel like Riot, you know how they have the World Championship rewards? They should give everyone a stopwatch. That'd be so good. Because it's probably going to be a season of stopwatches if there's not a big balance change, so...
Oh, that's extremely good. It's a brilliant idea.
The losing team gets broken once. Feels bad, man.
Oh. What does a working one even do? Okay, Crown is going to take a bit of damage. Good command dissonance there. Threatening his life down to about 300, but won't be able to do that again. And Justice is out of it. So no worries. It's a bit rude. Ambition gets a crab spat at him.
I mean, it's from his teammate, and you do an immense amount of damage with Devour onto the Rift Scuttle. One thing that you really appreciate is if you fall behind as a support, it always feels pretty bad, but if your inhibitor goes down and you're Tom Kench, if you eat the super cannon minion and then spit it out, it's like 2,000 damage. You're like, yeah, that's me. Then your AD carry next to you gets one shot, but hey, you did a lot of damage to a cannon.
Yeah, you did. That's the main thing. They're the ones that got themselves killed. Okay, so Teddy did manage to get a knock-up, but it's just not a whole lot you can do with the time Kench available. Well, the fact that they're aiming for him means the Core JJ can just nom him up if he wants to. We're back in a Tom Kench lane.
That's the action, probably level 6 here for both mid-jungle duos. Ambition's 5. Crown is already 6, so there's a chance. It's going to be just debated for now.
Yeah. Be able to get over there. Electrocute was opted for, but we got some free-ass boots for himself. Yeah, we have even more inspiration coming in this time. What's the amount? We got 5 out of 5 on the side of KSV. That's good news. Do we have 5 out of 5 on the other side?
No, I see
sorcery.
sorcery.
No, 4 out of 5. No, 3 out of 5.
Oh,
Jinna.
get with the program, Jinna.
This is not very inspiring.
Only 1 sorcery from Crown. I really do hope he has Gathering Storm.
Yes.
So in case you guys aren't familiar, not playing the game anymore, Gathering Storm is every 10 minutes gain rapidly increasing amounts of AD and AP at the 10, 20, 30-minute mark. So the joke is that Jinna plays super long games, therefore just sit back and enjoy. You'll get plenty of AP as the game goes long enough, or AD.
Something like, isn't it exponential growth as well? Like,
see, exponential is a mathematical word. It feels like exponential. Like if we were off air, I'd say that, but someone's like, well, actually. But it's...
You're an idiot. It's not actually exponential at all.
You get more each time, is what I'm going to say.
Okay. Feels exponential probably isn't. Although, wait, hang on. Exponential can be... just needs to be infinitely increasing. So, I think it's still right.
You're going to get tweets at you about this, Alex. I'm not saying anything.
Okay. I'm happy to be wrong. This is going to be a learning thing. Next time we talk about it, get to know exactly what's up. I can say it different. It's stupid. that us play-by-plays like to say to sound smart once in a while.
I believe in you, Atlas.
Thanks, man. Oh, wait, you're being facetious.
Watching the game here, Ambition has pinged level 6. Caulfield's Warhammer towards the completed Warrior. Interesting that he's going to finish the Warrior. A lot of Rengars will just go Trackers or if it's solo queue Red Smite. And from there, just finish off something like a Youmuu's Ghostblade or a Duskblade. But
yep.
Warrior Enchant does give you a lot of bonus AD on completion, so just going for the value there, I guess.
Well, if he wants to clear out this pink ward, does so.
19 CS only the lead for So1, and you start including Klepto, and it's probably pretty competitive in the top side. Umti's never really visited the lane, and I feel like if you leave this lane isolated, you better see big leads. Okay, that was actually an ult used here.
Yep, Delicious Rakan is going to have to get the hell out of there. Is going to survive on no health, but that's it. KSV gets the memo, sends down some cannons and says, thank you very much, I'll take a free kill.
Wow, that was so close, just about killed, and going on Teddy as well.
Yeah, he was about to get munched on himself. Poor JJ just getting aggressive exactly when he needs to. If you land the Chains of Corruption for free, it's just not a whole lot you can do. And
it's so academic when it's the ruler we're talking about, the guy who won the world's MVP off the back of that excellent flash Chain of Corruption onto Faker in Game 3, so super on point. This is the most ultra comfort for Ruler. He is a Varus main. He makes it look good. Varus can, even without Varus Braum, the pick power of Varus is incredible. Not often do we see kills in the 2v2 in this Quadra Relic Shield meta, but this is one of the times.
Oh yeah.
Actually, we should say it's a triple Relic Shield meta, as Wraith has had to go down to the Spell Thieves because he doesn't have a melee auto attack and doesn't want to do his best Thresh impression.
Oh yeah, that's really rough. You're trying to do that with a Rakan as well. He's got a particularly pathetic auto attack.
He does. His auto attack and his Q, both kind of sad.
Gleaming Quill is probably the least necessary ability.
It's one of the other reasons he doesn't fit the current meta is that, honestly, if you can't itemize into Relic Shield as one of these ranged supports, it does feel bad.
Yep. Teddy still has one though, so that's handy. DF Sword done at the same time, so despite the fact that it did lose that kill on the bottom side, still gets a decent back timing as far as the amount of money he had.
The reason why that's not as big is that Overheal, which is something you proc with, the healing from the Relic Shield procs much larger on allied healing, so the fact that he's not getting the extra healing from his ally means he's not going to be as topped up. It's not huge, but it's, you know, it's a frustration.
Yeah, you're not getting the most value out of it.
All about value. If you're going Inspiration Tree, you know all about the value. Umti going top. I feel like you have to do something around this lane because we haven't seen the turret HP. Maybe it's a couple of orders away from dead, but I'm going to assume that's not necessarily true. And down the bot side, seeing Ambition start off the Infernal.
And Jinhead just not really doing anything proactive whatsoever. Got So1, he's going to teleport back to lane, try and grab KSV, but he knows that they're taking a free dragon. He's not going to go too far forward, not going to go aggressive. Blade of the Ruined King is completed for So1, so that's important, but with that phage, with especially the Ninja Tabi, KSV's going to be feeling a little bit better in this lane.
4 members benefiting from the Infernal again, very high damage comp KSV, so great feeling on that pickup. When we had Ambition play the Rengar in the first series over at the Gangnam Stadium, I believe it was an 18-minute first use of the ultimate, so he does like holding on to that one.
7 minutes to go. Could see an opportunity though, especially towards the top side, to try and get a bit of a hunt down onto So1. He is starting to really do some damage to this turret.
Teleport drawn, so teleport advantage here for Crown. Doesn't mean they can push up even more aggressively in the bot lane if they were there, but they're not actually. They're going for the rotation topside. They're trying to help out KSV by pushing the turret and just ending this laning phase, and we're definitely piling in there.
Yep, Ambition Thrill of the Hunt, 11 minutes and 55 seconds, and he's even going to get a kill. Nailed it.
That Ruler ultimate was sick, by the way.
So
max range on the Chain of Corruption. Makes it look like a target ability, and we all remember when the champion was released, it was widely quoted as the most missed skill shot in all of the game, and it has got some whip buffs since then, it should be noted. But
it was harder when Yellow Pete was missing them left, right, and center.
Come on, guy. The guy's career's been dead for so long.
Hey, but you've got to remember him for the things that he brought to League of Legends. He's famous, man. Okay.
Yeah, I have a name moved after me. It's called the Yellow Pete.
It's called not having an R button. No, but it was everyone. Like, no one could hit that ability when Varus first came out.
I even saw Wei Zhao missing it all the time. So.
Oh, yeah. He was a hard champion to play. It was a different time. But we are going to successfully swap towards the top side. KSV now 2-0. Feeling like they're just getting further and further ahead. 2,000 gold now, 13 minutes into the game. They had a free dragon. So1 now just looks like his health bar is way too small.
Because it is. At the end of the day, it's play the Ruin King only as the Lucian.
Yeah.
A lot of base stats nerfs many metas ago, so certainly very brittle. Won't itemize into health. I guess he might go for Black Cleaver second. Not actually 100% sure what top lane Lucian's favor as a second item. You could see an argument for something like a Fan Dancer or something like that.
Yeah, Phantom Dancer or Black Cleaver I feel like are good options. Might even want to go for a QSS relatively early if he wants to be taking it into a side lane. Might be that Crown's going to be meeting him, but Ambition's going to come down first.
He hits the first bowler, that's bad.
Yep, Blade of the Ruin King does come down, the leap out, but I don't think QV is going to have enough bullets in that one shooter.
So the Jarvan coming.
Umti, yeah.
The empowered bowler stopping Umti from ult, and that was really important from Ambition.
Right on the edge of the range there as well. I'm pretty sure it would have gone off if he was actually in range, just couldn't move that couple of steps further. Scary stuff. Does mean that So1's given a little bit more breathing room. 40 CS into the lead, but Klepto, remember guys, QV's probably almost even, which is terrifying.
More Kleptomancy adjustments as we go patch on patch. It's worth noting that Gangplank is also one of the best abusers of another rune, which is the Grasp of the Undying. So it feels like eventually we will see Gangplanks move into that rune. But for now, Kleptomancy's still going to be the one that's taken.
Caught it for a second there. He's grabbed a Cull this time as well if Kleptomancy wasn't enough. He's going to also have that particular item.
It's a different Gangplank, but same idea.
Yep. Now he just needs to get Spell Thief's Edge and things like that, you know. Really commit. First power spike's been hit here for Ruler though. Ginsu's Rage Blade has been secured.
And that's where you leave the lane. If you're Teddy, like,
Yeah. If he's able to actually shoot a minion wave, then I die.
That's what KSV did so well. They were well behind in the Rengar game. The reason why we didn't see Rengar ulting was because of how far behind they were. But rotating with Ambition when they make those map movements was such an important part of their strategy.
That's another ball there onto Umti.
Remember, they have Gangplank ult on top of a 4v4 here.
Surprised they didn't just turn onto Umti. Potentially able to. Did still have the flash available, things like that, but just didn't want to opt in.
Oh, Justice has also had to delay his build pretty extensively here. You always wince a little bit when you see Lost Chapter, Sorcerer's Shoes, and a QSS in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Upside.
Another ultimate is going to land. Oh, not going to find anything is Wraith, as the sidestep from Ruler was so cool. So1 finds the culling onto QV, trying to walk into this minion wave, will successfully survive. Thankfully, So1's playing around with these barrels quite nicely, so not going to be able to give QV some free damage.
Sure, the right time to go all in on top side. They're going to get the turret. They also start off the Rift Herald. Look at that triangle of control wards to guarantee those objectives. And Gangplank, was he going to help up at top or ult the wave and bot?
Gets all of the minions there as well. So1 tanks up the turret when he definitely doesn't want to.
When you have good macro, like KSV, probably among the top 2 in the world at doing, and a Gangplank, it just feels like you're cheating because you have everything going where the 4 members are, and you can bail out or cement your advantage depending on if you have to defensively or offensively ult with the Gangplank. It's a really big thing.
You also feel like you get free gold lead as well. It's like, oh, at 25 minutes we've got a 2,000 extra gold lead just purely because of Gangplank's here. Just investment banking. Speaking of which, 45 minions to go before that cull pays off. He gets that 300 boost.
Might be going for the I'm in a tough lane build, because you see the pickaxe, which is going to most certainly not be an Infinity Edge. I know you would have loved to see that, but it's going to be the Sterix.
Yep. I don't mind it. Certainly feels like that I'm just slowly but surely going to get their Gangplank.
Sterix is really, really strong. It's melee only, so you don't see it as much as you used to. No Grave Sterix anymore.
Yeah.
But the 30% tenacity during the lifeline is a lot more useful than the extra 25% base damage you got before, and it's more base damage at all times than it used to be. So very powerful on someone like Gangplank.
Right now, everyone's very powerful on the side of KSV. It feels like they're taking exactly what they want, no matter what Jin Air do.
Cube still has flash and stopwatch for if he eventually gets ganked.
This just feels like KSV have twice the members on the map.
They're getting everything. Justice can come in and kind of do a little bit of damage to a turret. We'll get the top lane turret as well, but not going to cement anything in a turret very early into the game. 18 minutes now. Means the lanes are longer for someone like Ambition to start hunting. Long lanes certainly suit the Rengar.
Well, chance corruption to get a land once again. Stopwatch comes in, eats 2 ultimates theoretically, which ain't bad. Wraith threw down the quickness, which is a scary one, because now he won't have that available as this turret gets sieged. That's a single-man ultimate coming out from the Shockwave, but Crown's just nommed up. And that cancels everything out. So on in trouble is Ambition. Massive burst. Lucian's going to have a rough time. Yeah, exactly right. Rift Herald is going to be there. Cataclysm comes down. Umti immediately turns gold, but that's just going to be the 1-2 punch coming back to hit him in the face as Crown nether grasps him up. That's going to be an easy pickup for Ruler. Charged up Rage Blade means he's shooting super fast. Now they're going to head forward, and why not? Let's just siege up the second turret as well.
Feels like we're playing rock, paper, scissors, and Jin Air's going scissors every time, and KSV is the rock. They always have their better choice, the better move. They want a second turret right now.
Yep, Justice almost destroyed, doesn't have any mana, has to leave. Inner turret will fall down. Happy to tank everything up there as well as Jin Air eat a big barrel to the face. Not necessarily doing a lot of damage, but means they can't follow up, can't capitalize. Crown goes down very, very low, but he was never under threat of dying.
I'm going to have to start noting down the times we see Ruler miss the Varus ultimate because...
Yeah, they're the more important ones.
Exactly, it doesn't happen very often. He's so powerful now. Wits End and Rage Blade. The on-hit build will always have more power early. He's getting free stats and damage that doesn't necessarily multiply with crit like other builds. Meanwhile, Teddy's build is that build that keeps powering up. You need a full Zeal item.
Basically 3 items before he's doing anything.
You need a full Zeal item to even get the value out of your first item, and then the Infinity Edge to actually push your damage over the end compared to Ruler is about as hard carry as you can be at this early into the game. So,
and he also has so much flexibility. It's like, oh, do I want to go into like team fights with multiple people? I'll build a Hurricane. Oh, I want to kill one person at a time. I'll go Blade of the Ruined King. I can do whatever I want.
He definitely doesn't need to Blade this game. The Blade life still be nice.
Not a lot of people have a lot of health.
No, they do not.
But, you know, if for some reason everyone built 4 Giants belts right now, he could just change his mind.
Look, Ambition going to set a new stat that he's the best at, which is how long he holds on to stopwatches.
Maybe Ruler should get an ultimate hat. Maybe he should go into Sorcery Tree as his secondary.
I appreciate the reference, but...
You could think about it.
He can't.
That'd be a lot of Chains of Corruption. Imagine like 3 in a team.
Sorcery's only going to go down. There's talk of nerfing Mana Flow Band as well, which is kind of one of the more attractive reasons to go into it. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We'll see if Inspiration nerfs ever hit. I know Unsealed Spellbook will have to be changed because too many people take it in some games.
That goes a bit crazy as here's the aggressive move. KSV. It's a 2-man ultimate that comes down, at least from Justice, but that's all he can do before he falls down. Cube's going to lock it in, I believe, with the Cannon Barrage because he's in the bottom lane. And Umti goes down very, very low. Ambition may have bitten off more than he can chew, but Devour says no to that one. And the quickness is not going to be able to lock anyone down for long enough as Wraith just has to dash back with the Battle Dance. KSV able to take exactly what they know they can take without risking anything. 9,000 gold is the lead approximately. More closer to 8, I guess.
Somehow
this Baron could change it.
Somehow they're further ahead than they were in the previous game, Atlas, which is crazy to think at this point in the game.
Yep, Core JJ's getting hungry, but Wraith looks certainly like food right now. Rakan just really not working out. Anytime we've seen it so far, this meta of League of Legends. There's another Nether Grasp, and that is a free as heck kill. Wraith just... I was about to say something weird because that sort of action looks a bit strange coming out from Malzahar, but The purple line says that he's dead, and he died. That's about it.
Quality commentary there, Atlas.
Thank you very much, Papa Smithy.
I see why words are hard. It's not because the night's gone super long. It's because this game is so one-sided to the side of KSV. Smartly turning onto the enemy jungler. He's dead. Baron's going to be dead. So unless... Oh. Okay, Umti almost pulled off one of the greatest Baron steals ever, but couldn't do it.
Yeah, it was much closer than it could have been, though, because he still has flash.
I know.
Just didn't quite get close enough to the wall.
That would have rivaled Peanut flashing over the Ash Arrow and Graves for a hell of a steal. Don't know if we can really say anything about Justice apart from he had no impact on the game.
No, I mean
No,
you're right. There's absolutely nothing. Plus, I was actually very impressed with Grace. I don't know why Jin Air went for the switch, but I guess when it is day number 1, you're playing against the world champion. Like, this was always going to be a really rough game to play. Maybe it's about experimenting, seeing who plays better under pressure.
Wraith was always the sort to be a bit of a mad scientist. When we saw him in 2017, famously he played Kayle support, Lux support, and Leona the most out of meta. Those were the only 3 champions he played, so he was clearly having a whale of a time. Rakan, a bit edge of meta. He's also rushed Ardent Sensor, which, you know, isn't a very good item right now. It's fine late game. You know, if you're an Ivern, 4th, 5th item. If you're even a Enchanter support like the Rakan, fine, 4th, 5th item. But even when Ardent Sensor was broken, you actually had a lot of trouble proccing it repeatedly because you didn't want to always be using your shields on your AD carry. You're more about the playmaking than you are about just sitting next to an AD carry and putting shields on him. So, yeah, not a fan of it.
No. It was also, you know, largely the downfall of SKT versus Longju. If you remember back to the LCK final, Wolf trying to make that Rakan pick work and not necessarily being able to. Ruler, a little bit aggressive. Now we've got a cross-map play, so on in a lot of trouble.
Oh,
that's
missed.
The first one he missed.
Take that.
Oh, it doesn't even find the piercing arrow. I mean, they are going to be able to take down the turret. It was an incredible cross-map play, but all we're thinking about is the fact that Ruler missed an ultimate. Here's the follow-up play. Umti going in with the Cataclysm and flashing immediately after Crown, but he's running so fast with that Ghost. And there's the Nether Grasp. JJ should be able to set himself up a nom. That is a 3-man ultimate, but it's just not doing any damage coming out from Justice. The Shockwaves have not been there this game. And they're still yet to find a kill. They found a turret, no perfect game for KSV. But it just feels like the Spirits were pretty stomped on after game 1 for Jin Air Green Wings. This is not looking like the competition that we saw in game number 1.
15,000 gold lead, and you're that far in the hole and you went QSS to not die to Malzahar. So, yep, Shockwave barely tickles KSV.
Yeah. So KSV now just hanging around, wanting to break open the base in the last remaining spot. Barrel not found by QV. Get the 3rd. You know, at least back with 5 members available. Yeah, exactly.
It's early in the game.
Oh, yeah, 25 minutes. Oh, God. Okay, Wraith. Grand entrance to get himself over the wall. At least they're 5-man strong, trying to catch out Ambition if they can. Slow does come in. Still. Gonna get himself over.
Flying V from Crown, Core JJ, and QV.
Liked it. Very synchronized. There's going to be super creeps to deal with in 2 lanes now. We've got a Cloud Drake that needs to be killed for... Oh, wow. If we kill this Drake, then another one's going to spawn before the Elder even has the availability of being spawned.
Game's going to end before...
This is a very accelerated game.
Game's not going to go that far.
No.
Atlas.
I was looking at the Dragon, I'm like, oh, maybe they could get Elder and win the game, and then I realized 26 minutes. Okay.
And because of the different comp, you know, with the Rengar, they didn't have the same kind of mind games they did in the previous game, because it felt like KSV mind gamed KSV when they got super ahead, took down 3 out of turrets, and then never wanted to commit to Baron because they had the ZAC. But when you have Rengar, Ambition this game has already flashed over the, you know, Baron wall to get into a brush to start jumping on people, start getting the kills that were eluding them in the previous games. They have the killer mindset this game. They know how strong they are. And we're 1 pick short, and maybe not even 1 pick short at the game end.
Yep. These are Nexus turrets just about to be falling down. QV gets his way over. Wraith is just obliterated before he could even think about surviving. Ambition wanted 1. Goes golden. His stopwatch still available. And Ruler, he's just thinking about winning the game. Cannon Barrage doing so much work on the fountain. That is just ludicrous, as Teddy is an afterthought as he's taken down. It's 2-man Shockwave Ruler goes gold for the last time this game because that's a dead Nexus. And that is another 2-0 victory for KSV.
And that is KSV showing that Game 1, the mid-game, seems like a fluke because Game 2 was about as clean can be. Only a single turret separating them from perfect gaming. Jin Air Green Wings, and KSV will go into their first break, the end of Week 1 of LCK for KSV. 2-0 on their quest for the one thing that eludes them. They have a World Championship, but for the first time ever, they do not have that really tasty title, the LCK title, to back it up. They've said it in interviews, they've got the World Championship, now their sights are set on actually winning an LCK. It sounds like they've done things in the wrong order, but if they can pick up that title this year, they won't care.
Yeah, then they've collected it all. It's the last place that they have to prove themselves. This is one hell of a way to start off. With a 2-0 victory here, it means that they're back-to-back 2-0s, putting them in indeed #1 position after all teams have played at the beginning of LCK.
Deserve it. They've looked the best team. You know, they did have a bit of a slack off in Game 1 here, and that's something for them to VOD review and improve on. But apart from that, you got 3 games where you're like, yep, coach said, yeah, you did basically everything you should have done there. Good moves. Very little to review and improve on, whereas for Jin Air, still clearly not completely sold on who their starting mid laner will be. We saw more out of Grace, I feel, but the coaching staff obviously have a different side of things. Teddy in Game 1 had some glimmers, but Teddy Summer wasn't Teddy Spring. He's going to want to look into some of those teamfight positioning errors where Ambition was able to really hold him down and take him out on the ZAG. But for KSV, Ruler fanning himself as he's wont to do. It's all smiles.
Yeah. Looking back on the side of Jin Air, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but unfortunately just the bottom lane felt a little bit out of date as well. I mean, if you're going to play Rakan, maybe don't go with the Rushed Ardent Sensor at the same time. There are a lot of things that didn't necessarily go very well for Jin Air in game #2, but a lot of things that they can work on and troubleshoot as they move further into the season, because game 1 certainly did show a lot of promise, as did the amount of damage that QV was able to do. Those cannon barrages well placed, which is probably where a lot of the damage came from, because he was often in other lanes. He was early.
Yeah, he did the thing where he was down 40 CS, but his gangplank, the rest of his team was winning everywhere else, so he's like, well, whatever, I'm doing my best. And as you say, the ults were on point, the late game team fights were good. It got to the point where it didn't matter how strong Lucian is against Gangplank, he wasn't able to wail away and make the Pirates' day oh so sad. And that meant that it was just faster than expected. 27 minutes is certainly faster than the average KSV or Samsung Galaxy game.
Especially, yeah. No
need for slow and steady when you're this far ahead. Really good to see, given that 20 to, 35 minutes where they really slowed down against Jin Air in the first game. For MVP here, it was Ambition in Game 1. It's going to be Core JJ in Game 2. The Tom Kent evacuations, always fun to watch.
100% kill contribution, 207. That's pretty damn good.
Let's look at the runes, by the way. One of my favorite runes, it's kind of overlooked for most champions. It's the one you see on the right there, the approach velocity next to the Biscuiteer, and that lets you have that extra movement speed towards CC targets, is what's Tom Kench all about. Enemy hits a pick on Grady Carry or anyone else, move really fast towards them, and then use the Devour. So it's a Tom Kench rune. I would say he uses it better than any other champion, so definitely pick it up if you're going to play TK.
Yeah. Oh, that was the beautiful ultimate that you mentioned earlier on. All too easy. Of course, it was Core JJ augmenting Ruler. Ruler deserves an honorable mention here just because he's able to land all of those ultimates so well, expertly setting up for these sort of plays. But it's Core JJ getting them across the map with these Abyssal Voyages, all of them seeming to work out. And that almost was a shockwave that helped Ruler get into range to kill Justice faster.
The fun thing about the Core JJ is that it felt like, you know, Tom Kench could be in that Malzahar territory where how do you show skill expression? The speed increase on the ultimate really does allow for some skill there. You can actually make impressive Abyssal Voyages that before with the low channel time you couldn't, so yeah, very on point there. They move around the map perfectly because they're the world champions. It's one of their big strengths. So congratulations to Core JJ.
Yeah, well-deserved MVP. Speaking of MVPs, we are going to be heading into the interview. And we've got Joel on deck to take you through the translation. So take it away, Joel.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel back once again with LCK. Another day in the books with KSV this time. Not Samsung Galaxy picking up another win in this season over their opponents. They're going to be here with these MVPs, Ambition and Cole JJ for the interview. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel? The first game was quite a struggle for us, and we wanted to finish it in a bit cleaner fashion, but kind of disappointed that we couldn't. And it felt like a continuous marathon for you guys, running up from the very first moment, and had to struggle to get the win at the very end. Yeah, we tried to slow down the game a little during the middle, but at the same time, we couldn't let go of our pace, so we just wanted to maintain that, and that's what we did to eke it out to the end to the win. How was the game for you today, Core JJ? You know, before the games actually began, I was so full of confidence, and I felt like it was going to be a quick day and going to be an easy one to get with, but definitely didn't seem that way in the laning phase, and definitely urged my confidence to calm down a little bit after that. And I'm sure you had to be a little more confident in going to the games. Yeah, but at the same time, I wanted to be aggressive, but when the opportunities doesn't arise, so you have to be careful with that. And of course, you know, the Vayne did appear on the opponent's side. Isn't it something that you want to maybe have a little bit more chase potential on, because something like the Vayne you want to kill right away? Yeah, I think it was an issue with us not cutting down the Vayne in the early game as we should have. I think we let it go in situations where we shouldn't have, and I think it got to a place where it grew and it got stronger, and later it became almost very difficult for us to handle. We have one of the final fights of that game as a highlight here. And it really was a desperate moment for you guys. And it felt like the pressure would have been gotten to you guys. It was a situation where the team fight already broke up and we just couldn't back off of it. But I think if we missed some of the skill shots there, one of the key ones, it might not have been the biggest loss, but it definitely would have been a loss for our team. Right now, Ambition's JAG is 100% on win rate, and seems like you've been on the roll with that champion. How's your confidence with it? I always talk about you know, getting to a good position with JAG, getting all the items, and try to do that as early as possible. That gives me a lot of opportunities to go in aggressively and not having to frighten out. With so much CCs available and the jumping ability that it has, there's just so many opportunities to make a good space for your team to work with, and it just has to be a good opportunity maker for your team as well.
Ambition is 6-0, professionally undefeated on
and
the
KSV always does emphasize on the macro game and outside the micro type of plays that individual plays show. I don't know, I mean, you talk about shot calling and being the macro plays, we were just kind of out of control and just so focused on into the game, and we don't really have a dedicated shot caller. It's more about just continuing communicating with each other and just making sure we make the right plays and agree to some of the calls that does come left and right. And a lot of people do think that Ambition, you have the only shot calling, being the team leader, kind of the scariest member of the team. I think the members will follow you on that one. I wouldn't say the only dictatorship in the team, but it does have a major part in that. To be fair, all I do is just tell the team when to fight and when to not fight. I think that's about it. Don't really make any more detailed comments than that to my teammates. And you've shown yourself as a player, showing many good qualities. But what we've been noticing from you recently is your ability to initiate fights, and those type of plays are something that has seemed to be improved over time. And I think it's important that we have a very set role when it comes to the band picks, and we pick the champions. We want to know what this type of composition will do in team fights, and we keep that in the back of our minds as we open up the fights. We already know what we're going to do, and it seems like the initiates usually do come to me on that role. And of course, game 2, doing so well. You do get the MVP, and we'll see some of the reasons for why you did get it. I'm sure this type of opportunity is hardly seen amongst different teams, and really the opportunity seems so easy once you can do this every time. I think it really does come to your confidence on individual champions, and something like the Tom Kench, I know that I can do well, and it just gives me the confidence to not really back away and always going aggressively and with confidence. I think it's important here. And of course, we have to remind ourselves that this was a comeback match with Wraith and Core JJ. You know, I wanted to root for Wraith, and I wanted him to do a good job, but I felt like I was calm about that. But I checked my heart rate after that, and it was speeding up quite fast right before that. So, you know, unconsciously, maybe I was feeling the nerves of facing my old teammate, and I think that all that really had a big impact on how well I really wanted to play at the end. But I did use my phone application to check my heart rate. And one of the key highlights is that former KT roster head coach Jiun Lee joined your organization as the general manager. How's that impacted your team? Of course, you know, this guy has been a veteran in the esports industry for a while, and everyone knows him in the scene, and he has so much experience. And some of the words that he tells us gives us a lot of encouragement, and those things does provide a positive vibe for our team. It seems like the most typical answer you could have gave their ambition. And it felt like General Manager Lee was feeling good after that win. But with KSV, we can still have high hopes and high expectations for them. But any last words regarding the future matches for JJ? We've hit 2 games already after the season opener, and we're on to a good start. And we want to not be complacent and continue on with this run so that we can get to the World Finals, and we just continue to ask for to support for KSV. I mean, it's only 2 games that we played, and of course getting the win is fine, but we have to always get for the pace control and try to go for the finals, which is the most important thing. And that is the end of the interview. And for the last time, back over to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. Interesting to hear from KSV talking about the fact that they're more of a hive mind rather than having the shot calls when they have veteran players on their squad.
Well, the one thing, Atlas, they're dominant. KSV have looked great, 4-0 in the first week, and they've got a really fun one next up. They do not play until next week, but next week there's going to be a really fun one. Next Wednesday, I believe, it's going to be KSV versus Africa. That sounds pretty damn good.
Yeah, and that's an Africa that's just come off a victory against KT Rolster as well in what was a pretty hectic series, to be honest. And speaking of which, on Saturday, we are going to have KT taking on MVP, with Jinair Greenwings wanting to get back in the saddle again to take on SK Telecom T1, fresh off their win over Rocks in what was a closer series than a lot were expecting.
It'll actually be next week Thursday, sorry for what I was speaking about before, because it's the Telecom War next Wednesday. Speaking of Telecom Wars, KT and SKT both in action, like you say. KT will desperately want to pick up a win. It's against MVP, who have been our weakest team so far that we've seen on the Rift, but they need to find some confidence going into what is always one of the delights of the season, Telecom War you can't miss.
Oh, yeah, and especially when now the storyline has changed so much as well. Coming into the season, KT looking really exciting to look out for, but having a stumble against...
Use the exciting word.
I always use the exciting word, and it always comes back to bite me, and people always hate me for it. It's just how it works, Papa Smithy. I'm happy to do it. I'm absolutely happy to do it. But against Afrika, it wasn't what we were expecting. SKT didn't look the same against Rox, so another one of these times where it might be a telecom war with a different story, Papa.
Could be. I think it's time to go home, though.
Yep, let's do it. We are going to be back on Saturday. I'm not. The broadcast certainly will be. So from myself, goodbye for next week. And for Papa, goodbye until Saturday. See you next time. Bye.
You almost hit it.